Hey there guys, Lego Cheater here, and today I'm going to be talking about how the beloved children's TV series Thomas and Friends once promoted murder. Well, okay, technically I'm not saying that it promoted murder, but what I am saying is that one of the episode's morals can actually be summed up as, if you don't like somebody, murder is always an option.
Thomas is a tank engine who lives at a big station on the island of Sodor.
Now don't get me wrong, I loved Thomas and Friends as a kid, and I can pretty safely say that it remains awesome to this day. If you don't believe me, just take a look at the amount of Thomas and Friends toys I collected as a kid. I love Thomas so much that I continue to watch it and play with the toys years after most kids normally would. I was actually embarrassed to admit in front of my friends that I still had such love for a kids show. But, with the internet and nostalgia being what they are today, I think that I can safely get away with saying that Thomas and Friends was awesome. But when you're someone who remembers Thomas and Friends as well as I do, or any kids show for that matter, you do tend to pick out the darker things about it as an adult. All that being said, let's get on to the message that I'd intended with this video. Now we must all remember with some clarity that some of the things that went down on Sodor Island weren't exactly sane. In fact, some of the ways they treat these sentient locomotives and vehicles are downright cruel. I mean, just look at the amount of sentient beings on Sodor Island that are intentionally ground in one place and left to go insane.
Make him useful at last.
This one is my absolute favourite. Bulstrader's a barge and they f***ing beached him. He can literally never move again. It's the equivalent of me taking you to the beach, burying you up to your neck in sand and leaving you there. Except you will never get thirsty, you will never get hungry, and you will never die. I mean, did the Fat Controller watch The Count of Monte Cristo too many times? I mean, that sounds like torture. But once again, I've gone off track. No pun intended, I swear. The episode in particular I'm going to talk about today is called Breakvan. You may remember this episode. It centres around the Scottish twin trains, Donald and Douglas. Which never really made sense to me. I mean, how can they be twins? What, do they come from the same zygote in their mother's train womb? Anyway, Douglas is feeling bummed because this breakvan keeps making life miserable for him, purposefully slowing down his train, so he's getting a bad rap despite his hard work. Donald, being a good brother, decides to give that breakvan a good talking to. He fails to get anywhere with words and instead just harmlessly rams the breakvan.
There's more coming, should you misbehave.
That's already a little ignorantly violent for a kid's show, but I'm going to let it slide. Anyway, later in the episode, after Donald flubs up and crashes into a signal box needing to be sent away for repairs, Douglas is left alone to work with James, the stuck-up red engine. One day, Douglas comes across James trying to pull a train up the hill, but that pesky breakvan is slowing him down. So Douglas agrees to attach himself to the back of the train and help push. Now here, Douglas and the breakvan are face to face. Now this is good, this is important. This means that they have a chance to talk things over, work out some of their issues, maybe even find some common ground. Jesus Christ! What the hell just happened? My God!
The van was in pieces.
Yep, that's how this story comes to its conclusion. Right in front of me, I watched a Thomas train destroy another sentient being. I honestly cannot believe what I just saw. And listen to this.
No one had been hurt.
No one was hurt? What the hell are you talking about? Did you not just see the splintering body of the breakvan as it shattered all over the tracks? You can't just brush that shit off. And you may be thinking, Felix, you're overreacting. I mean, what about all those other episodes where we see trains are damaged and then repaired later on? Hell, what about that episode where Oliver accidentally rips the body off of Scruffy, that annoying-ass truck? Well, we saw him get put back together almost immediately afterwards. In this, we never see the breakvan again. You know, except for his dismembered face being lifted away. And as far as any resources I can find say, he was completely destroyed. I mean, death is something that can happen to the trains in Thomas and Friends. In one episode, Stepney the Bluebell engine only just avoids being melted down into liquid metal. Oh, but it was an accident. Douglas didn't mean it. Okay, maybe not, but it's not like he gives a shit afterwards. Sure, he's kind of bummed out that he caused more trouble for the railway system. But no one cares that he killed something. I mean, it's kind of horrific. It gets worse every time I watch it. In fact, it just occurred to me that, like I said earlier, the two characters are face to face at the time. That means that Douglas is actually coldly staring, unblinking, directly into the eyes of his victim as he crushes the life out of him. Good God, that is so screwed up I can't even process it. And is he actually smiling? My God, this is sick. Well, anyway guys, I expect you now realise what I was talking about. The moral of this episode of Thomas and Friends is that if somebody is a little bit of annoyance to you, you know, makes you late, calls you names, then it's perfectly okay to straight up kill them. Just make it look like an accident. Then again, I was a big fan of this show for like most of my life, so I think that you can take solace in the fact that I turned out to be a perfectly normal, high-functioning human being. Just the hope not to be able to perform.
You, Radcliffe.
I'm Lego Cheetah and you've been watching me spoil your childhood. Good night, Great Britain. Hey guys, really hope you enjoyed that video. I had a lot of fun making it, and if you did like it and you haven't already, please feel free to check out one of my reviews. I'll put the link to the latest one on this side of my head. And if you like the video and you might want to, I don't know, subscribe or something, I'll just put a link to that on this side of my head. I mean, no pressure, I mean, anything, just... Anyway, great, thanks.